Hey everyone, hoping that my mic's coming through okay. Welcome everyone, I'm so excited to be here. Looks like I have a few messages. Hello Peg, thank you. Louise, Loretta, Nancy. I'm so glad you're all here and I've missed you guys so much. It was a long break. I can't believe it. I feel like I'm a little rusty, but I'll get back into it pretty quickly. And that's what took me a little while. I didn't understand why it wasn't coming live and I had to hit, start broadcast. That might help. But I'm really glad to be here. It's been a rodeo of a ride since last time I've seen you guys. I had a really good time at the pastel workshop that I did, but I'll share a little bit about that with you guys. And welcome, Lori. Glad that you popped in for a few minutes. I totally understand. I just love that you guys come in and say hi, so that always makes me feel good. So for those of you who asked, I did go to a pastel workshop. And it was in Mount Vernon, Washington, and it was with Tony Elaine, and he is a master pastelist. I mean, he's had like over 80 something, 5,000 hours of, show up time in his lifetime. It was pretty crazy. We were just doing some math and playing around, but yeah, it was a very expanding experience, and it wasn't really about finished work. It was about just learning new techniques, watching a lot of demos, and practicing his techniques. And I will say the first day I kind of just shut down and couldn't even take it all in. It was really cool to be a student again, to remind me what that's like. And by the second day I was up and running, had a great time. And it was just really fun learning from someone that was so experienced. I mean, he has 50 years that he's been painting. So he does mostly pastel sticks, so I was really curious about really learning a core workshop from that. So I had a great time, but it definitely was expanding. So I have a couple pieces that I did, but they're not like really finished work. They're more like exercises. So it really wasn't about that for me going there. But so glad you're here, Francine. Welcome. Deanna, welcome. Yeah, I'm really glad. It was something I will definitely do again. I'll probably try to do that once a year. And it was just such a good time to have full days just to focus on art and learning something. So I'm really glad I did it. But when I got back, during all of this, I had to switch my video host provider on my website with all my classes. So I've been doing that for a handful of days. So got it all switched. It's working great now, but yeah, that was a whole nother hurdle. So it's been ongoing since I've gotten back, and I really haven't had a lot of time. So I'm really glad that I have as much done today. So we are going to be working on the Guardian of Creativity. And I've had this guy hanging out for a little over a year. I drew him up a while ago, and I tried to do him with a different technique. I wasn't really loving it, so I decided to draw him up for the demo today. And for those of you who have asked, I thought I'd do a special treat today. And if you didn't get my newsletter yet, or read it, or see online, I'm giving the line art for free. So you just need to go to, I'll put the link here in just a second and I'll pin it. But if you join my my PanPastel free library, it's a lesson library. Once you register, you get instant access to all my free lessons. And every once in a while, I think I'm going to pop in some line art if you want to play along with me. So, of course, these are just demos. They aren't full class lessons. I can't stress that enough. I get some interesting comments, but you can't really do full, huge lessons in the way I paint. And so I give a demo, and I hope you guys enjoy the journey that I take you on this week. So let's see here. Cameron, hi. Thank you, my big supporter. Sherry, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I don't think you've been in chat before. Welcome. Laura, so glad you're here. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry to hear about your father. That is awful. Well, I'm sending you lots of love and support. I'm really sorry to hear about his passing, Laura, but I'm glad that you're here. And let's see. Yeah, that can be really challenging. I lost my father too, and it is a journey. So I'm sending you lots of support. Let's see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a brief overview of how I got where I am. And for those of you watching the replay and watching right now, as I usually state what paper I'm working on the UArt Dark 600 grade sanded pastel paper. The sanded pastel paper makes a huge difference, and it really allows me to do the techniques and have the look that I have. And so if you are using a different paper, just note that you will have different results. So this paper allows me to do lots of layering. It's really easy on my soft tools, which are specifically made for PanPastel. This paper, the 600, works really great with my soft tools. It doesn't tear them up too bad. So I've also mounted my paper onto a photo mat board, like a mat board for like framing. And I have that video. I'll put that video down below. But if you want to learn how to mount your paper, it makes pastel a lot easier to work with. I mount everything now, and it just allows me to tape it up easily, and I'm ready to go. So that's where we're going. So then the free line art that I did, it's basically made out of a sketch that I drew up, and I have it, and you can go to my website, like I said, get access to the free pastel library, and it's in there, and then you can just download it. And I've saved it as a PDF and a JPEG, so that should give you guys enough to be able to print it out. I have mine printed on a 9x12. An 8.5 by 11 will work fine. I just bumped it up a bit so I could get the crop that I wanted. And what I do is I take the printout and I wipe the back with a light gray neutral pastel, and then I will take my pencil and transfer it onto the pastel paper, and then I use my trusty carbon pencil to support the pastel. And for some reason, here it is, I use a Wolf carbon pencil, a 2B. If you don't have this, just use a black pastel pencil. It'll be similar. So, but this has extra staying power. And the reason why I use that is I need that extra staying power just for the way I work. The way I work is basically the black paper is like an underpainting, and I use the black pencil to give my piece a lot of structure. And then I spend the whole time breaking it down and abstracting it out. So you have to put some elements in there to get started. And those elements that are on the base layer are the ones that are going to stick and have more staying power, because I'm always thinking in layers. And when I'm thinking in layers, I'm thinking, well, these are the strongest elements of the piece. So when I get and I build up the layers, I will be able to break those down and abstract them out a bit. So if I put a layer of pastel on and then try to draw these flowers, they wouldn't have the staying power, and they would kind of float around a little bit. I mean, you can get some detail, but it just doesn't have that structure. So let's see here. Hello, Cecile. Welcome. Hi, Helene. So glad you're here. Yes, the line art's available, Helene. I don't know. Most of you are subscribed to my newsletter, so when you do go into the PanPastel free library, you'll be sent an email to also confirm your email subscription. So make sure you say yes to that, because that's where I notify everyone. I've also, gosh, I think I have it really quick. I'm going to grab it. I also have uploaded a new class. Well, it's not, I've had it out before. It was from about a year ago, but it's called The Awakening. I'm trying to find it really quick. I meant to pull this out before I started, but The Awakening is the lesson, and it's like a metaphysical eye. So that's all in the free library too. I think it's in this book. I'm just checking really quick because I would love to share it with you. Oh, I think it's towards the end here. Maybe not. It might be in my other one. Well, you guys will have to go check it out. Let me do a quick share of the link, and then I'll dive right into the piece here because we definitely have a lot to do. So I think I already copied and pasted it. Okay, so there's that. That's pinned. So there's also the free Awakening lesson in there too that I just uploaded this weekend. So that's also available, and you can only access that in that membership area. I put a lot on YouTube, but I also have quite a bit on my website. So Laura, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Hi, Temple. God, I miss you guys all so much. What a great group. You guys are all back. I was like, man, I'm going to leave a week. Are they all going to come back? So that's great to have you here. Let's see. Temple. Oh, I see you had a misspell. Awesome. All right. Well, I don't think I've missed anything. So I'm going to get started. We have quite a few guys in here. And I think yeah, here's my black. So I usually, when I put my blacks in, I have a specific tool for that, like a black, like the darkest soft tool. And then I'll usually use that quite a bit. And what I'm doing here is I'm putting in where I want my shadows to be. So when you're working with the value scale, you want to, excuse my messy value scale, but I also have this value scale in the new Awakening. That's with the whole black PanPastel technique, and you can download that in there, and it has the one with the highlights, midtones, and shadows in there. So what I'm putting in is my 9s and 10s, my shadows, and that's really important to do that first. You want to work dark to light, and so I will map that in. This also structures out my composition a little bit, gives that structure, and I'll talk a little bit about that too. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about what I'm going to do here, because it's not always straightforward, because this layer is just the what I want that's really solid in the piece. So I'm probably going to take this up here a bit. I might not bring down the color all the way down for this kind of rainbow vibe I got going on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put clouds in here, and there's going to be clouds up here, and there's going to be maybe some down here too. So it's going to be this like ethereal kind of vibe. But my main focus is, I posted on Instagram today. I had an older piece that I loved, and it was a kind of a spirit guide with an owl. And I did these oranges and magentas with a little bit of violet. And I'm thinking of going towards that realm on here. And I think that will be a lot of fun to play with. Let's see. You're welcome, Loretta. Yeah, Laura, we had a great time. You guys are loyal, Francine. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm going to pin this real quick. Oh, whoops. It won't. Come on. Let me pin. Well, I might have to pin it later. Oh, here we go. Okay, so that link's going to be pinned to the top. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Laura. Oh, I got my first chat, a super chat. Thank you so much. You guys, give her some love. You can like it and heart it. Thank you so much, Laura. I miss you guys a lot. It was really hard to be away, so I'm glad to be back. This is your third super on a live stream. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It really helps me out. And that means a lot to me, Laura. So thank you. All right, you guys. So I'm thinking of, I'm going to put this, I like to do this where I put the black in. I always like to have kind of drama in my pieces. And sometimes I like to get all my black in there before this starts, but I just did not have the time. I can't believe how much has gone on since I've been online last time. I feel like I've lived a whole lifetime and now I'm back. It's been crazy. So yeah, I'm gonna put this all through here. And this is going to really bring a lot of contrast to the rainbow. And compositionally, this is the focal point. So it's really going to bring in your eye right here because the black up against this rainbow especially is going to be really strong. So welcome, Daniela. She's in the car. Oh, I love that about you guys. That's great. Hope you have safe travels. So I'm going to get this in, and then once I get this basic in, then I'm going to take and go with my pencil and put some mark making in there with the black, because the pencil actually goes darker than the PanPastel. So what I'm doing here is, if you think of it, we've talked about this before in the lives and in my classes. I go way more in depth in the classes, but we've talked about this in the abstract, so I really want you to see it in this type of piece, is the cruciform composition. And the cruciform is when you have four, lines that are intersecting. So you're just going to use a big old piece of paper here. And the one I'm using today is basically, I'm going up here and I try to mess it up where it's not so obvious, but it's going to kind of go like this. And then we're going to go out like this. And we're going to have our flowers and our owl here and this. And then we're going to we have our rainbow. And I'm not going to put the lines right there, but I'm going to put something, there's going to be some clouds up here. And I'm going to float those clouds around that are going to support this whole composition. So this is a messy form of like a cruciform. If we were really doing basic, it'd basically be like this. And that just means that four edges in some way, if it's either light and dark, or if it's either in whites or anything, you're carrying the eye through the piece this way. So you'll kind of see, for me, I use my darks a lot for that. And then I use lights to contrast that. So I'm putting these in here, and I know I'm going to put some clouds up here. So I don't want to put too much black in here, but sometimes I just got to get it in there just to have something to go on. So I don't want to go too crazy with the black in here since I know I'm going to put some clouds. But I put it up there. And I try to break it up so it doesn't look so obvious. I mean, once you see it, it kind of gets really obvious, but and then I'm trying to break it up so it's not so like the same line. You don't want to go so literal. You want to try to make a sneakiness about it, but it's not too sneaky. You're trying to make it where it's not so structured and in your face. So that's what I'm going to be working on. So I think with this cloud right here, with where it ends right here, I'm going to end up putting some clouds. So I might have put a little much there. So I'll just see how it how it floats there. Okay. So the other spot that I would want to maybe put some darks in are right underneath the wings where I know that touches. And that's just because when PanPastel, it's structured, like I've said in the other lives, it's in a family. So if I use a core and I go over this black, I'm mixing a shade in a more natural and organic way. Especially, I've kind of limited it here. I don't know if I'm going to really use this turquoise. The reason why I put the turquoise and the red on is for mixing. And when I mix turquoise and magenta, it makes a lovely violet. And so I'm going to play around with that. I think I'm going to drop this down a bit too. Just going to kind of scribble. So I'm going to take my black, if I can find it. Got it right here. And I'm just going to use my black, and I want you guys to see how much darker this can be. So when it gets on there, you're going to see it go one more level darker. And that's gonna, this is where I kind of start breaking things up just to play, because I don't really know exactly what I want to do with this specifically right away. So I am just playing, and this loosens me up. So I might put some scribbles in here. And all of this is erasable if I want it to be. Can go with some abstracty marks there. Well, Sherry, I hope you come back. I'm sorry you have to bail. All right, so these guys, so all the flowers look like they're floating there. And that's okay, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to put in maybe stems and stuff later. And so I am just trying to get that real good foundation here. You can see even inside here how much darker this goes. So I can even put some fun scribbles in here. I can accent. So putting the initial black in just really helps not having to use so much pencil. And then you also get to have another layer on top of it. So I'll probably just put a little black into there. I mean, I'm kind of imagining there'd be like clouds here, thinking maybe those clouds will go up here, and then I'm probably going to end up maybe taking a little bit of this out, but I'm thinking like clouds here. Could probably even I don't know. I'll have to kind of play with that. Yes, Paula, it is forgiving. I mean, I would not even have the confidence to do all of this if I knew I couldn't erase something. So, I mean, even just going, well, that line's too much, I can just tap it back too. You know, it's just really, really amazing. And the more you get that, where you more practice that you have, the more you'll get confident. And a lot of it's just, you know, showing up. You know, that was like the fact that, you know, they say it takes 10,000 hours to become a master at something. And I talk about this in my lives quite a bit, because I think we get in our head really hard on ourselves, and you're like, how many hours have you actually done in the style, or, you know, on the, you know, the type of work that you're doing. So we can get really hard on ourselves fast. And that's why when I was at this workshop, I figured out if the dates that he said he started as pastel artist, and then I was just factored in like 30 hours a week. You know, I'm sure he worked more or less at times. And then I did over all the years. I mean, 80, like 5,000 was like a big reality check to go, oh yeah, this guy, you know, I gotta be a lot more gentle on myself. This guy has done a lot of work. So we have to just really remember that. And I was factoring mine, and I think I have around 7,000 with pastel. So I'm putting a little bit of little tension shadow spots here where I know it's going to be the darkest. And underneath this tail, I want those to be divided. So I'm lightly putting in, I could do that with a PanPastel too. I'll just lighten it up here. Because pencil will really fall off quick when you hit it with a wand. And because I want this tail to be another layer back. So you're working in planes a lot of times in your head. And so like this paper is in the 8s. So it's really far back. So you spend all your time bringing things forward. And that's the magical part that I like about it. Because on the dark paper, you don't have to worry about the dark peeking through. So I really like that part. I'm going to have like stems down here, but I don't want to put those in until I'm just putting in these lines, because I know that it would be really kind of fun to just have some lines in this piece. And then I'm even going to have, you know, some in there. So I'm just kind of mapping that out. So I might put a little bit, well, that could be bright there. So my idea here is this is also going to be radiating. So I might be claiming some of those pretty quickly for those lights. Let's see here. Oh, you guys are so sweet, supporting each other. I love that. Francine. Hey, you know what? I hope I am still practicing when I die. Like, I don't ever want to stop doing art. Okay, she's got a question. You've been working on a piece off and on for a few weeks. Busy house right now. I know you have a lot going on at home. So I can't find a big block of time to work on it. What I have noticed is that the paper tooth will seem almost full. Well, Laura, tell me what class you're working on. And then a few days later, it seems to have more tooth. Well, it could just be that it settled in. I'm not sure, but a lot of times it's either you filled it up with too much pastel too quickly, but I've never seen that where I haven't really recognized that myself, that it has more tooth after it's sat for a while. I've never really thought about that. So it's definitely something to be aware of, but I haven't recognized that. So that's kind of interesting. I'll be aware of that because I just haven't even experienced it myself. Okay, so I feel like I got a good solid base here. So my thought is I want this owl to be, I'm going to probably work on its eyes first. And I want him to be in this like pink, orange, you know, purple vibe. I'm really liking those colors. So I'm going to work on getting the eyes in first. I'm going to use a lighter wand because I'm working with the yellow in the eyes. I'm going to use some of this yellow oxide. It used to be yellow ochre. And I just tap in a little bit. It really goes far. So I'm going to tap a little bit of the orange shade in there. And you can always work with the pencils if this is too tight of a spot. And I'll probably have to go over that dark part again with a black. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Laura. I haven't experienced that myself. Something interesting. I decided to put the orange shade down and then hit it with the yellow. So this style that I was working with Tony Elaine, it was so interesting because it's like literally the opposite of how I work. Well, he had all the basics like dark to lights and drama and that's what appealed to me. But he believes, and it works for him, that, and I want to practice it more, but when you put one stroke down, you're done and you never touch it again. And that's with sticks. So it was so interesting. I was sitting there thinking that right now. I'm like, put one down, move, put one down. But I'm more into blending and that's fun for me. But it was just so interesting seeing a different perspective like that. So the eyes are always pretty powerful. So I like to get those kind of going. And I might even put in the reflective that I like to put in there. I think I'm going to use an ivory for that. And I got my trusty little stick here. I don't know how far we're going to get today. I hope we get pretty far. And I'm going to actually use my little shadow pencil that I love. It's the 175 Pitt pencil. And I'm going to put a little shadow where this all is underneath the eye. And you can see I'll do one and then I'll do the other, but you can see how it really puts that eye back. And then I can also add in some saturation with a pencil. So I would go darker with a pencil. I'm trying to see which pencil I want to use. I might actually just try this 670. It's in the red iron oxide kind of burnt sienna family, and then I'll go a little darker. We got to get his eyes in first. And that sets them back a little bit, you know, it like puts them back, and then we'll match up the brow to the right depth we want as we go along here. So I do like using pencils on the eyes in the smaller areas. It gives me more control. And then I can use the Oxide. It used to be called ochre, the pencil here, and add the highlight down at the bottom here. I have a owl that I've used in a few of my classes. It's on Unsplash, but you can see how bright and yellow their eyes are. I didn't want to make his eyes as bold. I kind of wanted his eyes to be a little different and play around with that. And then, but I also like them to have a little bit more rainbow vibe. And then I can even play around with the orange. And this will kind of pop out a little bit more when we're working with all the other colors. It's kind of fun to be able to add all that in. That is a good point, Temple. You guys are good chatting today. I just want to catch and make sure I haven't missed anything. Yeah, I love that advice, Temple. That's really good advice. Yeah, it's always us that it's in the way. It's not really anything else. I've definitely discovered that on my journey. If there's anything I'm struggling, I'm like, it's me. I'm in the way. So he looks really dramatic right now and kind of almost omnibus. I can't pronounce it. Omnia. You know, you get what I'm taking. He is a guardian. So I'm thinking like the story with this guardian is that he's the guardian of creativity. And it's a lot like what we're talking about today is like, you know, giving you good advice when you're in your way, you know, positive chatter in our own mindset. And this character is supposed to be in our studio and guiding us to positive self-talk and higher vibes. And he's going to ward off any bad mojo. So that's my vibe for this piece. Oh, Terry Burt, welcome. So glad. Oh, Jelly's here too. Welcome. Hi, Jell. I think you're Danielle. I think I got your name. Okay, I'm in Studio Works. Very interested in your techniques. Following you on IG and YouTube. Building up the courage to try this. I started with brushing clear gesso on black cardstock. I hope that'll give... Yeah, Terry, that'll definitely give you a good idea of what it's like. The gesso is a little rougher, so you wouldn't be able to do some of the fine details and the layering. It doesn't take as much layering. But I have a free whimsical mushroom lesson that shares all of that in my free PanPastel library. And for those of you who just joined us, I'm also giving the line art away in my pastel library, and I have that pinned. So follow that link, sign up for the library. You'll get instant access. There's also some $10 off coupons for my classes, because in my classes I go way more in depth. But this is basically a demo. And let's see here. I'm glad you're here, Terry. Thank you for chiming in and saying hi. Oh, thank you for your kind words, Laura. Okay, so I got that in, and then I'm going to play around with just getting some color in there. Like, I'm not going to be too hard on myself. I'm just going to try to get it in there and see how I feel about it. I'll probably be putting layers over this. I'm using my darker wand, which I'm okay. I'm probably going to put some burnt sienna in here. And I'm just blocking in. So this is a blocking in stage. So whatever color is on the base, that doesn't always have to stay there. I am going to put with my ivory, not a white, with my ivory, I'm going to put a little rim. Oh, I got to sharpen it. A little rim around the eye here. And that's just going to protect it on that paper. It's just going to kind of say, you know what, this is my area, and it won't move around as much. So I got that right there. And then when I put these little wisps in, that will also get highlighted too. And we're going to have like little nose whiskers and all that. So we're just getting these in here. And I'll be able to put pencils over this. You know, I might pop in too is the little highlights. That'll probably help out. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate it. So this little guy will start coming to life here. We just got to get in the initial layers. And going to put a little bit of this up here. Just going to tap in some. I'm not going to do it all because I want to leave space for some other color there. So I could bring in some of this orange. This orange is pretty bright. I might bring it down. It's pretty high up on the value scale. I don't usually like to go that high right away, but we'll just plop that in there, and I can mix it with a little bit of black, and then that's going to tone it down to the shade. So that's how I work with the black, so it's not constantly, you know, creating mud or anything. I'm going to play around with the highlight really quick. I'll usually try to emulate. I'm just using the 105 CarbOthello, and I usually try to make the same look, you know, reflection. And I might have to go back and shrink it a little. And when I say that, I'm shrinking it with going back and forth with the black. So, whoops, I got to get it sharpened. So you can put that highlight in there and then look at it and go, okay, even on the camera, it really helps. Maybe it's a little overpowering. I want to break it up and make it look more natural. And I can go back with a black pencil. I'm also going to take this highlight down a little bit right there. I don't know, it looks pretty serious, guys. We'll have to see how he comes along. He's not messing with our creativity. Our creativity is protected. Like this guy is going to make sure there's no one messing with us. Let's see here. Yeah, he looks a little devilish right now. We'll see if we can cheer him up a bit. Oh, you're saying not anymore. Yeah, it'll evolve, but right now he's just a real character. So I'm going to bring in a little bit of this dark magenta extra dark. And when I do this, it just starts breaking things up and bringing some color into the piece. And it allows me to start thinking, a lot of times I'll hit a color in multiple places. So we got his face started there. And now I can just start blocking in with a little bit of color. And usually they have some darkness under their ears a little bit. I use this for a very loose reference. My class, Catching the Light, I use this one in that class. That is a really fun class. And but I'm really being loose. I like to break things up and make them whimsical. And so I'm just using them as a loose resource image type of thing. So I'm going to take this magenta extra dark and I'm going to bring it in a few areas around. And a lot of times I'll put this in the shadows because it's a cool, you know, it's a warmer magenta, but it's usually put like purples and blues. If you feel a little overwhelmed, a lot of those will be like more in the shadows. So a lot of things that will help me is go, okay, well, I'm going to put those dark blues and that dark magenta back there. And so I got that going. And I want those to look separate from the legs here because he's got these cute little legs. And then I have this red iron oxide. And it's really interesting because if I use permanent red, I like to share a little color mixing in this thing because I think it's a lot of fun. Oh, I thought I had, oh, here it is. I got my little trusty mixer. So if I use the red with the Diarylide, and when I mixing them separate and putting them on here, you don't get as good of a mix. If you tap into the color and then tap into the color you want to mix with, then you go down on your paper and then you get a beautiful mix in there. Now this is how you make a Diarylide out of the red by using the Diarylide and the red. And so I find that to be a really powerful thing, because maybe you don't have Diarylide, the red iron oxide. It's red iron oxide. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little rusty. So here's the real red iron oxide. So you can see how close they are. And so the original PanPastel pan will always be more saturated, I've noticed, than some of the mixing, if it exists in PanPastel in the pans. So, but that's a little mixing tip for you guys there. And I'm going with oranges and yellows, and then the yellows and the purples and the magenta, they're complementary. They're kind of like they play off of each other. So I'm going to take this red iron oxide. It is fun to mix the two for the reason of having that beautiful, not purely mixed look. So if I want to do this where I have them together and then I put them down, thinking of where I want this, I'll just maybe think about right here. But you get a little bit of this like watercolor vibe where it's not as mixed solidly. And so that's kind of fun to play with. And so I can even just put the Diarylide in. I'm just trying to get some color in here. I keep calling it Diarylide, but it's red iron oxide. I don't know why, but my brain's hiccuping on that today. So just going to go in here. And I'm thinking too, I might put in here just this, I have burnt sienna, but I also have the burnt sienna extra dark. And I want to put this in where the little feathers go. They're almost like fingers. But I think that's going to put it really dark for me. And I'm going to like that because I'm going to want to mix in some magenta down the road. And I'm being pretty loose with this because I know I'm going to probably hit it again with another, swipe. We're just blocking this in. And then to transition that up, I'll take this and I'll probably have to put some black underneath that to make it a little bit shadowed. And then I can mix in some of this magenta extra dark to it. It's a really beautiful mixed in with the burnt sienna extra dark. And so now I really want this spot to be the bright pink. So I might just go in with the this orange and bring it in right here too. And when they bump up like this, when I merge and harmonize them together, I'll do that, and then they'll kind of, I should have probably put this yellow up above the red, but hey, this is a whimsical guy, so it's going to be just fine. And then I can take some of this and mix it in on here so it'll start being so it's not such a big jump. And I think for the chest in here, I'm going to bring that into the magenta extra dark too. Terry, thank you for the call out. You are welcome. Chrisella, you're here. Welcome. So glad that you're here. Missed you. How are you doing? That's very helpful mixing tip. Thank you. I was wondering why I was having trouble mixing and it kept coming out like layers instead of blending. Chrisella forgot it was Tuesday. You know what? I'm surprised I remembered it was Tuesday. Yeah, it's been crazy. You know, Francine, what you're saying is so true. Like in my next class, which I'm really excited, you guys, I have really good news. My next class is going to be called Nurture Your Joy. I've talked a little bit about it. I'm going to work up a sneak peek here, maybe this week. And I have fully finished filming it. So I'm in editing mode. Very excited. There's many hours of editing to do. But in this next class, I talk a lot more about these mixing techniques. And I'm only using 13 pans for the whole class. And I really go into, you know, understanding the palette, how we're working with it, and I go into more in depth. So I'm pretty excited about this, you guys, and I can't wait to share it with you. Let's see here. I've got this going, and I wanted to go in with like a really, maybe a darker, it's also going to have all of these mixing formulas. I'm going to actually have a printout that you get to print, which I'm really excited about that. And there's this one color, and it's when you take the magenta core with the red, and it goes into this like fuchsia. I'm going to put that. Oh, that's a little dark, that's a little bright for down there. I need to bring that up here. So what I can do to fix that is I'm just going to put some red in there. I mean some black in there. I'll put that up there in the fuchsia, and I'll show you that along the way here. And that just bumped it down to like the red extra dark. So the blocking in is what seems to take the most time. So it's really worth to have the patience for that. So I'm just hitting some of this black, and I'm adding some depth to the sides where the wings touch, and then I'm mixing that in a bit. So thanks for bearing with me, you guys. I'm a little rusty today. I'm going to switch wands. All right. I have my little inspiration piece that I'm working off of too here. I'm going to push that a little darker. So I'm just trying to break up the color in here because I don't want it to all be one color. Now this heart, I'm thinking it would be really cool if it was like a peachy heart, and I'm going to play with that with the magenta and the yellow ochre. Yellow oxide, I guess is what I would call it. And then I want to take and have the heart be where it has a little bit of that black punch through, where it has a little bit of tension spots there. The tension is where I just try to create some black so it just kind of grounds it into wherever it's at. So a lot of it's just figuring out what colors we want to go where, and I'm thinking right around here, that's where I can play with this fuchsia color. So the red with the magenta. So I want most of this area to be in that color range, and then I'm going to bring it back with the oranges. Actually, I think I want this burnt sienna in here. So I try to tuck other colors in there to break it up, because if you don't do it now, it just kind of leads me to what I'm going to do next. Oh, this is going to be a really colorful soul. I'm really excited about it. So here's a really beautiful color. When you take magenta and the turquoise, you probably wouldn't even think about this color, but it's so pretty. It turns into like a beautiful violet, and it almost looks watercolory when you work them together like this. So you get these together and they're really beautiful. So it almost has that watercolor vibe. Like I did watercolor for 10 years, and I'm always after to kind of get that vibrancy and freshness, to not overmix, and that's what I really like about that. Oh, Francine, have a good day with your students. I'm so excited you're going to be here all day for Thursday, and thanks again for your email. I'll reply to you soon. It's always a pleasure talking with you and chatting with you on email. And have a great day. Okay, Chrisella. Okay. A fun group again today in honor of Michelle. Let's give the video and subscribers, if you haven't, is that a pin? A thumbs up. Thank you for cheering me on, Temple. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your guys' support. Any help with the videos is huge. Watching them and giving them like any interaction really helps. So I really appreciate that. So you can see how this violet is mixed in, and it's really, really, really pretty. And I know this is my focal point, but I also want, you know, this area where the heart is to be really striking and fun. And I'm thinking, since I got this on my wand, I'm trying to map out that you know what, I'm actually going to just switch my wands here, and I'm going to do this real quick. I want this to be radiating. I could do this in pencils, but see, if I choose to do this in pencil, what happens is it's so strong that it gets rid of the softness. So I'm going to put the rainbow in here. And I get that, you know, it's okay that the black merges in with the rainbow. So if you put that black carbon pencil in and you are getting a lot up and it's really making mud, that means you put your carbon pencil down too thick. So you don't want that. Let's see if I can get these in a swipe. They're almost perfect. So sometimes I question like some of the characters that I make, and I think what it is, talking about it, is they're kind of bringing out my inner child and, you know, playing, and I think that's just what brings me a lot of joy. And a lot of times I'm like, you know, it's a little out there, but I want to bring in more play into my work. I think that's really important, and that's where these little characters come from. And I just try to stop judging what I'm making and just go with my intuition, and it's really helped me kind of find my style. Sometimes we compare a lot of what other people are doing, and it makes us not make some of the decisions for ourselves. So I'm putting a little bit of that bright Diarylide in right up here. Okay, so I got the yellow. I'm thinking I only have so many here, so if I go yellow, orange, and then maybe the magenta, I can play around with that. And that would bring... I'm going to do the orange shade and go over the orange again, because it's a lot brighter than we think. Because we're going to be able to go over pencils with all of this, so it's not like we're not going to go over it again. Whoops. Trying to do a stroke here. And some of this imperfectness I like to embrace, because it loosens up my work. I mean, I definitely like to embrace the imperfect, because I could go hyper-realism. My personality really leans towards the perfection thing, but what I've discovered is I'm not as happy. The looser I am, it seems to be the happier I am. And a lot of this looseness, you know, if you're not doing that right away and it's something you're interested in, you just have to remember that the gap, you need to make the gap smaller and smaller. Like if you start out, your gap's really big. So every time you do something, you're closing that gap. And that happens a lot. Like that Tony class, like Tony Elaine, when I was there, if I would just show up and start trying to create with his techniques, the gap's too big. I got to kind of integrate it slowly, see how I feel. I can't expect to paint like that, and I can't really ever expect to paint just like him, you know, like, but if I was really after that, I'd have to get that practice. Okay, so I'm kind of digging the whole vibe of that, but I definitely want to put a magenta in there. I really want to put this lilac in there. I'll probably hit the lilac down at the base. So let's get this up here. And I'm okay if it mixes in with some of my other colors I have on my wand, because that is harmonizing. You're wanting things not to be so chunked up in color. You want to harmonize it throughout, and it's okay if it mixes in with some of the other color. And the reason why I'm putting the magenta in the inside is because it's darkest on the inside. I want this to maybe radiate out. So that's my vibe, what I'm thinking. So we have to get through the patience of building this structure first, and that's what takes the most time. Okay, I'm going to check chat here real quick. Thank you, Francine. I know you're probably gone, but if you rewatch this, thank you for the encouragement on my new class. I'm really excited. Thank you, Daniela. Temple, I'm not rusty. I'm red iron oxide. I love that. I love it. Oh my gosh. The imperfectness is why I'm here. I've prepared desktop graphics for print, and perfectness made me uptight. Gosh, Paula, I was a graphic designer before my kids were born, and I can relate to that. A lot of production work, a lot of perfect attention to detail, and I really caught myself, and I'm glad that you're here, because this is definitely the journey of imperfectness. And just know, that's what this whole core is. If you want to like really see into like learning the cores, it's like, what's the core that I'm trying to do every time? So the core I'm trying to do every time is, I used to fight against me building the structure, like transferring the image. I just wanted to show up and draw. And you know, that can be fun. That there can be fun on that. But more times than other, I'm realizing I finally leaned into the fact that the structure was my strength, and it gave me the ability to set up something with success. Now the fun part is for me breaking down the structure to find that line of abstract, of reality, abstract, mark making, scribbles, play, and fun. So half of my process is structure, and the other half is breaking it all down. So that's kind of my core. I mean, that's what I'm doing in my focus all the time. So you have to put some imperfection in early, or you're never going to you can't bridge that imperfection gap at the end or in the middle. So all this black I've put in and just kind of messed up around here, that's messing up the structure that I initially with the line art made. So it's helping me make some decisions. For my whole working career, decades. Yeah, I probably did that till I was in my 30s, and then probably from 30 to 40, I was doing a lot of very rigid. I was a digital scrapbooking designer, so it was very much into perfection. And I tried to do watercolor for 10 years. I did it off and on, but watercolor really wants you to be imperfect, and I never could fully embrace the medium, and that's why I really want to embrace the medium with pastel. I just am like, I can't let that happen this time, you know? So I'm going to go up here and get this blocked in. So I would say this part is probably the most challenging. It's just like kind of choosing these colors to go down. And that just comes with practice. So I got... And then if I look at something and it's not, you know, fun, or it's not as much color, then in the next pass I can do that. I can loosen that up even more. A lot of these guys have a little bit of white in here. I'll probably pop that in later actually. Because whenever you start using the whites and stuff, that's the tints. So you're navigating, bringing up the values. So I'm just getting these all blocked in. Now I'm going to work on the ears a little bit here. So I put the magenta extra dark in the little shadow area. And you can use an applicator, a smaller applicator. I'm just learning to use this oval for everything because it's basically, if you look at it, let me get one of them. I think I stashed almost all of them away. Here we go. So if you look at the oval and this tip, they're almost exact. So this is great for getting in there and being perfect and stuff, like getting it more true to where you're trying to land. But if you want to loosen up a bit, you have a way more range with this whole tool. I can use this tip just as delicately as I use this one. Most of it's just stability of like getting myself in a stable where I feel like I can touch it down. But if you want to loosen up, it's just like they say in acrylic, if you want to loosen up, use a bigger brush. So that's basically what I'm doing. And then I'm going to radiate these guys out to where I have a little bit, I have this tip that's kind of starting to wear. Hello, Sharon, welcome. She forgot what day it was. We got to get everyone back on a rhythm here. I definitely think it's going to take a couple weeks to get things back and going. All of a sudden I was like, where was I going to put down for pastel? I'm working on the ears. So I'm going to take this with the orange and put some of that up here too. And I could go and rotate those colors. I like this burnt sienna. So I could like use pencils if I really wanted it to be perfect and all that, but I'm really, like I said, not really wanting that. So right here above the eye, that's going to probably eventually go a little whiter. So I think for this, I'm going to bring in that yellow. I might just do this more toned down yellow. I might have to transition these when I go work on the next layer, because I don't know what the expression's going to necessarily look like when I'm done here. Now for the little beak, I'm probably just going to use the burnt sienna for right now. And I'm going to tap in a little bit of black, like the tiniest little bit of black. And I can even use some stability right. I could have just kept the paper there, but sometimes I get a little too rambunctious. Okay, that was a little much, so I got to go back and forth here. Okay, so it's going to get that beak kind of started. It's not like set in stone or anything. We're just getting some color down. And even when I go over the pencils, I'm able to kind of play around and clean things up and all of that on that layer. So I don't know if we'll get to pencils today. And then I can go over these other colors and start mixing them in just a little bit so they transition a little. Okay. So you can see how putting that magenta underneath and then radiating it out will kind of give that sense of depth a little bit there. And we'll be able to put more details in as we go on with the next layer. So I'm trying to think of what I want to do. I'm going to do some of the flowers here. I might do quite a few white flowers. Let's see what I want to do for a white flower. I think it might be fun. And I'm just using the raw, I got to bump it down here, the raw Umber tint. And if I change my mind, I can always put a color over this later. But the white and the gray are going to balance out because I'm also going to have clouds in there, and it's going to balance out all the color. So when you're doing a lot of rainbow, it's nice to work some type of neutral in. And wherever you hit down on the paper first, you're going to have the brightest color. So I'm realizing right there was a little bright because I almost want that to be a little bit of a shadow right there. Like right there we go. And then for this, I'll bump it down on a surface because it stops the pastel from shedding as much on the piece. I love that you guys have alarms. That's awesome. So we got one flower in there. I think I'm going to just start putting a couple in, and then that's going to help guide me throughout. Got a little hair on here. So wherever I hit down first is going to be the brightest, like I say. So you can see me like hitting down in this petal area. And I'm okay if it picks up some color too, because it's kind of radiating color. But now that color is, it's going to be more bright here where I tap down, and then I can get that shadow where the light touches. You know, right in the edge, I want that to be more shadowed where the petal touches. So they're going to look a little gray right now, and then I can add color as I go along. I love that you do leftover dinner night on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Laura. My husband and I, we rotate dinner. We haven't always been that way, but we both work from home. And since COVID, and we just found out a rhythm where we now rotate. So if I get the rotation right, like tonight, I don't have to make dinner. And it really helps when I'm having to do lives and everything. Okay, so I have quite a few of these. I might just go these other flowers, these more boxy ones, maybe in different colors, and I'll just do these all in the white, and then I can have these little white ones in here. So I try to hit the tip. They are so tiny, and I'm okay with them not being perfect. And this is more pencil territory, but I'm going to try to get that first layer in there where I'm fine with that, because I'll be able to clean that all up. And then I'm going to do this one over here. So we got those three in there. And then I think what I'm going to do is go with that beautiful like lavender, the violet, and I'm going to do the flowers, some of these bigger, bolder ones in that beautiful lavender. And that's going to tie in the lavender that I use around. Yep, the challenge of being a persistent peep. I love that, Temple. Oh, you guys already ate all your leftovers. Oh, I love that. You guys are funny. So I'm going to go with that magenta and this turquoise, and then watch how I just go straight down, and it's going to have that watercolor vibe. I might even try to like not over mix it, right? Like, I mean, that's what I learned with the Tony Elaine, you know, trying to keep it fresh. I don't know if that's possible for me. So now I got to figure out what I'm going to do. The petals. I'm going to just get this one done too. I mean, isn't that is a yummy color. I love that so much. And you can even pop in a little bit of that magenta pure right there, and that really brings it out. You can kind of, I think it's pretty true on the screen. And then I'm going to do another one. So you can see how I just start picking like threes. And this is what I'm doing when I don't exactly know what the next step is. I'll just start somewhere. You know, like you got to just make a decision. We get a little frozen, and sometimes we just have to push through. I might just do all of these. Maybe I'll do these in more of a mix there. And I'll probably just go through and do the other flowers. I think what I'm going to do is maybe have these petals be the burnt sienna. Let me try that. And I'll be able to mix some other colors in these petals. Just leave it sunny. We have today's like our trash and recycling day. So Sunny's trying to guard us. I hope all of your pups are doing well. Oh, by the way, I am not fully caught up on Facebook. I popped in there really quick and saw a lot of action going on in the group, and I needed to go and make some comments on that. So I just want you guys to know I haven't forgotten about you guys. It's just been a crazy past week, and I will get that caught up. And if you're new here, definitely feel free to join the Facebook group. It doesn't matter what kind of medium you work in or whatever. It's just a safe place for creatives. And just like how we have a wonderful chat here, it's a lot like that there. So it's a great place to be able to share your classwork or the freebies or whatever you're working on. So I definitely have to go get caught up in there. I'm going to put a little orange on this one just to change it up a little bit. Yeah, Laura, it's amazing if you just really force yourself to use one wand, what you can do with it. I started off really loving the it has the oval on it. It's this one. Let's see. I have them all, but I'll grab a visual for you guys. I've stocked up so many. So I did the triangles. I like those for certain things. Those are really great. I love those for some things. But I also had this kind of oval top, and then it was straight. I started off with that one as being a main wand for me. And then I had these squares that I really like for the rectangles for certain shapes. But these ones ended up being my favorite just for the fact of that I was sharing with you is that the tip is almost exactly the same. So as these little wands. And I love that. Let's see. Ooh, I like Oat Dawn. It does look a little watercolorish. Thank you, Temple. Appreciate your kind words. I love how you're teaching not to be afraid of combining warm and cool colors. Yeah, you know, that is definitely kind of what keeps interest in a piece is that whole warm and cool thing. This one's really warm, heavy, but a lot of times you want to pick a dominant color, a dominant warm, and then pop the cools in. And that's a lot of, you know, learning along the way. Cecile, violet is gorgeous. Thank you. I know that iridescent lavender, it's so cool how those two are relate to each other. And it's really fun to learn that, okay, well, if these are related and then I use this violet in here and then I use a magenta somewhere, they're part of a family, you know, they work harmoniously together. So learning that relationship is pretty exciting and powerful in my opinion. Okay, so I'm getting, the flowers are looking like they're coming along here. And the other thing I've learned is a lot of time in my focal image, I'll do a lot more detail here, and then I like this stuff to kind of fall away a little bit. So I got this little tiny one here. I'm gonna bump those little leaves or petals. And then I think I'm just gonna do these the white too, because it's gonna balance it all out. So I'm gonna switch to I don't even think I have a lighter wand out here. I'm just gonna grab a tool real quick now that I've pulled these all out. I go through these a lot. I think when I'm live, I'm a little harder on my wands. Okay, so I got the raw umber. I just really love this raw umber. I also love this yellow oxide tint. Some of yours might say yellow ochre, but I like that tint. So you just really want, when you're working with this, it's just also learning how much you load on your tool. And the first layer on this sanded paper is the hardest because it's got the most tooth. So you got to fill that tooth a bit. And once that tooth's full, then it starts really working really easily with the pastel. Okay, so we got all those cute flowers in. And so now I got to think about maybe the colors around of what I want to do. And I'm going to go a little bit darker down here and lighter up here. And because I want this to be radiating and a little bit brighter, this dark area is going to be pushed back. So I just got to think about putting some colors in. I'm probably going to tap just this in here and put it down here with a little bit of black. And I'm trying to also break things up. I don't want it to be like too perfect of where I'm going with things. So sometimes these little scribbles, when I take the pencil and I run it around, I'm making areas to fill in with color. Up here, I don't have it as much because I'm probably going to do mostly clouds. But that helps break up something if you're having trouble. So now I'm just going to take those. I'm hem-hawing about bringing in this green, guys. So I don't know if I want to bring it in. I think I might keep this in the colors that I got. Can I do that? I could try it and see what it looks like. This is the Diarylide. I really love it. Let's just do a spot down here and see what that looks like. I think I might keep it out. I really want to bring green in, but let's just see what it looks like if I go this more dominant color combo. I'm going to trust that initial thought on there. You guys, how is it already 2:58? Well, we'll have everything pretty much blocked in. So I'm going to use this extra dark. So see, I'll just go into some of these things that I've made, the scribbles, and that helps me break things up and abstract it. So basically my darks are going to be these violets are going to be my, that's why I was thinking about bringing the Diarylide in, but I think I'm just going to go with these. I could try to bring in a this iron oxide with a dark. Let me see what that looks like down here. But I can bring it with, so when you put that black in, it can go really dark really quick. So I don't want that to be too, but that would be kind of pretty to have. And I have to tone it down because down here we don't want our eye to go too crazy. So I'm basically doing this to create just some harmony. And then I'm going to tap it around a little bit. So that's where I should have used like this burnt sienna extra dark, maybe right here. Okay, so now I'm going to go and start bringing in some of the brights up here. And what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go and just try to get this look to brighten up, and then I'll put some clouds in around it too. So I'm going to just hit this with a tint here, and then I'll put clouds over it too. I got a lot of squiggle marks there, and I'm just gonna, I think what I'm gonna go is take and make some decisions here, like this will be a hole. That's a hole there. And that's going to give me something to work on here. And I'm going to put some of this lavender in here. I got to get it in now, and then I can bring it in with the clouds. Oh, it looks like I'm frozen. Just a sec. Doesn't look like I'm frozen on camera. So I got to boot this back up. One sec. All right, there we go. I might have missed some chat here. Just a second. I think we're good. Okay. So I'm just trying to get some type of background in there for when I put some clouds. So I'm thinking of clouds. And I'm gonna hit some light here. Use a lighter wand. That's the Diarylide. I'm leaving the spots where I think I'm going to hit with clouds. So it looks a little random right now, guys. It's just, I don't want to put too much pastel down. I mean, I can do clouds over it. It works, but I want this to be the brightest spot. I'm gonna bring clouds into there. And usually I do clouds quite later, but let's just see how we go here. I'm gonna go and put the centers of these flowers. I'm thinking I want them pretty bright. I might wait, maybe I'll just do this and then I'll go over them with a, that's the burnt sienna and the magenta. And then they're like daisies, so I actually should probably put yellow in there. It's okay if it all mixes together. Like I said, it's harmonizing. And then I'll be going over with these with pencils too, so. I hope you guys come back on Thursday. I keep trying to stress in the lives that the second half in a painting is like the icing on the cake. It's like the most powerful part of the journey. So I hope you guys come back. Most of you do for the live, the people in chat. But if you're watching the replay, come back for the next one, because this is all structure and getting it blocked in. And then the next one is going to be tying it all together and merging it together to where it starts working harmoniously. So it looks really almost stained glass and blocky, but you can see if you squint your eyes even, you can see that I'm going more dark down here. I'm going to go more light up here. I got a lot of work bringing things up out of the value range up into this area here. So that's kind of why I don't want to necessarily cover those areas when I want to put clouds in there. Oh, we got a question. Luis, hi. How did you find using the sticks at your course? I found it hard to adjust to them on mine after using pan. Watching you now pan feels so much more like painting with the tools, no sore fingers. The sticks are a whole nother world. And I do tie them into, like, when I'm working personally, I will put them on up higher layers. I have a ton of sticks. I will use them on the upper layers and for details and mark making on those final layers. Now, working with them through a whole piece, I've done that a handful of times. And a lot of it with PanPastel, when you are a stick pastel, it's like stick forward, where that's what you're mostly using. A lot of it's about, sometimes about underpainting, and PanPastel works really great for that. So like this layer, I could do this and then start putting sticks on the rest. I like the sticks. I think they're their own kind of technique, and I definitely want to play with them more on my own time for YouTube. I am PanPastel forward. That's my jam here. I might do some things down the road where I incorporate them, but they're a little messier too. But I definitely want to work with them more. And the class that I took was really extreme. It was like, put a mark down and leave it, put a mark down and leave it, and you got to know all your values. This guy was a master, and it was pretty amazing. But it's something I will definitely be practicing on my own, and there's no as much blending with his style, but it's just interesting. I really love them both. I just think PanPastel is way more accessible, and it's also more like painting. You're painting and you're blending, and that's okay, and that's fun. I like that. So I think I'll always be PanPastel is my favorite. Oh, good. Gotta go. Just had an egg hatch. Ooh, need to set the little cutie up in her new home. All right, Laura, I'm excited. So when you're watching this, you're probably watching it right now because that was a little while ago. But I'm glad that your little baby gecko hatched. She raises baby geckos. It's pretty amazing. She had pictures in the Facebook group. Hi, Kez. Welcome. Just popping in to say hi. I'm so glad you did. We're getting here. We got 30, a little around 30 minutes here. I'm hoping to get us up to a level. So I'm going to show you guys how I would navigate maybe those clouds a little bit. So I'm just going to pop in because I'm thinking about actually right here taking off a little bit of pastel. And that's okay. I use the eraser to make changes, and it also is a tool because it'll mess things up a little bit and make them a little bit less perfect, and I'm okay with that. So I knew down at this base I didn't want to do it on the line art, but I knew I was going to probably put clouds in here. So when you do a cloud, it's layers. I know I want to put them in here, and wherever you tap down first is the brightest. And I'm just going to start putting in a few here to kind of see where I want them to go. So I want those lower layers to kind of mute out and blend in a little bit. And I didn't want to have cartoon clouds. I've done those flat graphic clouds, which I'm fine with too, but and this is okay that it's neutraling out. I'm happy with that. So I might even put a little of the extra dark violet underneath here. I mean magenta. So we'll get a taste of them in here. I really usually wait till towards the end to do them, but I definitely know I want them, so I'm gonna just go with it. So it's a dance. The clouds are a dance. I have I think it's called, it's on this channel. I put it, it's a free lesson. And I'm just, all of a sudden, I can't think of it. It's a being, and I show the clouds in that. It's a longer, more detailed. But so you can see how I've neutralized the bottom, and then I'm going to bring this up, and then they start kind of looking ethereal. So I'm going to have to wait to really get them going because all of these layers below aren't really established yet. But you can see how on this side, it's going to look like a rainbow. And I can even take these clouds and merge them into the arms a little bit down the way. So I got that vibe going right here. So now, since I've got it kind of blocked in, I can start thinking about my light a little bit more. And I'm thinking I'm also going to have some of these clouds up here. And that's going to merge into this white that I did, this brighter color. I actually think this is the yellow ochre tint. I just want to call it yellow ochre, but I know they changed the name to yellow oxide, which is challenging for me. So all of these rainbows, all of this chunkiness will all be brought up more and more. It looks like stained glass, but that's part of the process. Like, it's part of my process where things look a little bit like that. And then the next session we're in is going to be all about bringing those together. And then if I have where there's a line popping through that was from my black pencil, I just got to take that down with an eraser. And I like that give and take. I like the freedom of being able to put those marks down, but sometimes they'll kind of show up, and then I put the pastel over it. And you can use white for these tints too, and that's going to blend into this this radiate thing, and I'm going to be going back and forth with that so you can see how I'll give you little hints of where we're going to go with it. So all of this is going to fluff out into clouds. It's going to be kind of like the celestial cloud thing, but you got to start somewhere, and it can look a little chaotic. And I'm going to have clouds down here. Oh, hey, Ivy, you're late to the party. Hey, girl. Thank you so much. It's at that block in stage, but we are getting there. He looks a little intense, but it's the guardian of creativity, and we don't want anyone messing with it. So this little guy is going to keep our studio protected. So glad you're here. Thanks for popping in, Ivy. Okay, we're almost home. Need to unload. See you on Thursday, Daniela. Thank you for popping in. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Ivy. I'm stoked. I've had to kind of pull back on the colors. I wanted to put some green Diarylide in there, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to keep it here. It's at that kind of uncomfortable stage. So if you would be at this spot in your own painting when you're working, I would call this more the uncomfortable stage, because I just don't know. You know, I'm just starting to come out, and like the owl doesn't look that cute yet. You know, we're going to add cuteness to the owl. And I just got all the colors kind of blocked in. So I'll wait. I'm probably going to add like clouds around, but at least I got these a little bit mapped out of where I'm going to put them. And you can kind of see what I'm going for here. And I'm trying to leave some gaps. Like, I don't want it to all be the one color there. So the clouds just take practice. That's another thing, you know, when you're practicing these things. It's what I've learned on the dark paper. If you just take a piece of dark paper and practice them, you can always erase it, especially the UArt, and start over. But it's really about putting the color down, blending out some of the edges, and kind of neutraling it down to like a mid-tone, and then keeping some of those darks in there for the paper. And then once you get it fluffed out a bit, then you're going to take and pop in another, you know, bright color, and then you're going to fluff that out. And so it's basically just finding your cloud. Like, what's your style of cloud? Do you like harder edges? Do you like it fluffy? Do you like a mix? And you just have to explore what your clouds are going to look like, you know, like. Okay. So we have a few minutes here, and I think what I'll do is, it's a little chaotic. I'm looking at the, I'm looking at my structure here real quick. And it looks like my yellows are really following my composition. So I think I'm going to go with some darker, I use a lighter one, but I'm going to do some darker here of the magenta. Fill that in. Put a little bit of that in here. And then take some of this magenta and turquoise and blend these in a bit. So it's choppy, but adding a little saturation of the magenta in there. And then I'm thinking about up here, I don't have a lot of magenta here, so I'm going to pop some in. It's going to go darker. So I'm just getting these little gaps filled in. Mixing those two and putting it, the turquoise and the magenta. And I have this area that has a lot going on here, but I'm just going to abstract it out with some different colors. Maybe some red iron oxide in here. And I'm kind of being random a little bit about that. Some of the violet, I'll just put it in pure. Okay, so I want to leave some of the black peeking through. I don't want it to be and then I can take the pencils and they're going to help me take the journey of, you know, farther. So I'm going to bring this red iron oxide in here too, because it's okay if it bumps up against that other warm color. And you're going to see how taking that red iron oxide and popping it around is going to really bring things together. Hey Michelle, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Good morning. Welcome back, beautiful. Hope you had a fantastic time. I did. You'll have to watch the replay. I talked a little bit about it. Good morning, you guys. Oh, you're already looking forward to the replay. I like that. I like that. So I'm going to pop some of this red iron oxide right in here. And this is neutralizing out this almost into like, it kind of like watercolor neutralizes. Sometimes it looks a little browner, and I'm okay with that because you can just pop in a little bit of magenta and that'll resaturate it. And then I'll probably have to go back and forth to shade that in underneath the arms. And I'm really excited because we'll be able to add the little stripes. That's going to be a lot of fun. Now the face, I want to take the last few minutes and work on that a little bit. I'm actually going to pop in a little bit of this red iron oxide. And then I'm going to bring in a little bit of the yellow here. And then I just use the tint to kind of, I'm bringing up the value on here. And then I'm going to pop in a little bit of color, tuck that in a little spots, right where things kind of touch. Didn't really hit that side like I wanted to, but so it's not brought up all the way, but it's definitely a start because we're going to be able to put a lot of mark making in with the pencils. And so I want to bring in some of this orange. And see, layering these up on, you know, lightly with each other, that's going to harmonize them too. And then it'll start naturally rainbowing out a bit. I'll hit a little bit of the yellow oxide here. And I'm going to go with the burnt sienna too. And we're going to be putting in little whiskers. Yeah, it's crazy how much the color will affect the piece. And so I'm at this spot where I'm about ready to do pencils, but I think I'm going to save the pencils for Thursday. We're going to have a lot to do on Thursday, so I might just go a couple minutes over today. So I'm adding some bright tint there from the yellow oxide, and I'm pulling up those things, and now I'm going to be pulling up a lot of these, and I'll probably do some of that with the pencils too, but I got to pull up some of these. They're pretty dark. I have to watch the replay. I've started a new project and need some help with the abstract aspects. Ooh, I'm excited about that. Kez, I'm not sure if you're in the Facebook group, but I would love to see some of the stuff you're working on, if you're willing to share. Or if you don't want to, you can always email me too. I love getting emails with your guys' artwork. I will reply. So Michelle has her paper. She has her course, but it's been hectic. And now you need to find some quiet time. Well, I relate to you. I'm hoping quiet time happens because it's really hard when you can't create when you're wanting to. Okay, so I'm probably going to leave a lot of this for the pencils, but I'm just going to bring it up a bit because this one's really dark. I might just put some orange on the tip of this guy. Well, maybe it's just some magenta. And then it's going to rainbow out a bit and not look like it's so bold. I like that. So you can see building up the layers first is giving me something to work on, and now that time is well spent because now I can go and start merging these, and I'll start merging the lines, so I'm not going to keep every single line in there. And then it gives me something to work on with the pencils. So the face I want to go a lot lighter with. Now I'm knocking, this is a pretty dark one, but I'm knocking this down a bit, but I'm looking at my little one I worked on before, and I'm going to bring this face up a bit. And this is just going to go into more of an orange tint. And see, now I can keep that shadow that's underneath there a little bit, if I can. And that's going to create more depth in there. He looks pretty serious right now. I'm going to find a way to lighten him up. So I'm going on with my tint. What I want to do is right where the eyes are, I want to bring my plane up to the same value. And I'm just going to try to do that right here for right now. So it makes the eyes not look like they're floating on top of the face. Oh yeah, Kez, I'm glad you're a part of the Facebook. I don't have everything memorized. It's so hard, but I'm glad that you're in there. But I would love to see what you do. If you feel comfortable sharing, that would be great. Michelle, yes, it turned up on Monday, and hopefully you'll also have your laptop back on Friday. That's a long time without your laptop. So Louise, I think Michelle actually got the UArt, and she ordered it, and now it's there, if I'm right. Okay, so I'm still playing. Now, when I bring that up a little bit, I'm bringing up the value. He's going to have cute little cheeks for a little while. And then I can even pop in a little bit of magenta in here. And that's going to start harmonizing the whole piece here. And I can... Now, this is where, you know, you can use this. I don't know how this will work for this one. Let me see. I'm going to try it where I load just the edge of the brush. I want to see if, I don't know if no, those are too harsh. I think I'm going to use pencils for that. And look, see, I can change my mind. Okay. So I'm just bringing up with a little bit of tint and the burnt sienna up on the top of the beak here. And these are going to be little wisps of hair, and I think that's going to balance out this little cute guy's face. It's just getting all of the values up. And he might even be really cute with more of a peachy cheek. So let me see what that looks like. So the peach with the yellow and the red kind of makes it's an orangey peach, but if you put a little magenta in it. So I'll be playing back and forth with the face. And then what I'm going to show you on when we come back on Thursday is like, I'll be able to feather this out and make it look like feathers with just some texture, see? So there's a lot we get to do with these pencils, and I just think the pencils are my stick pastels, but look, just that little feathering it out helps a lot, but I definitely got to bring up a lot in the face, and then I can, you know, I could even go and put little bursts that come out. I'll have to figure out what I want to do. So we'll see. I'm just playing around with a little idea vibe here, but you can see how I could put lines in if I wanted to and play with those. But I'll probably bump these down, but I just want to show you, like, this is the layer where you get to kind of figure out what you want to play with. And I can make owl looking vibes with just these lines, you know. I mean, I might love that. I'll maybe play it back and forth. I don't know what I want to do, but I'll be able to start going in with pencils and bringing all this up. So the magic's going to happen next Thursday, folks. So I hope you'll come and check it out. I'll definitely have the where I print out where I'm at, and then I'll show you the journey we take you on Thursday. So I'll just keep bringing up the face, play with getting it on the right planes, and then we're going to take those pastel pencils, we're going to do the fun mark making, and really start bringing this all together. And then I'll be tying it in with the clouds and maybe some light rays, you know, so we have a lot to do. So I might go a little long on Thursday, but I hope you guys will join me. I'm going to check chat before I leave here. All right, you guys are all talking about Michelle's paper. I'm so stoked you got the UArt paper, Michelle. And I am going to sign off here. But first, I want to tell you guys, be sure to sign up for my PanPastel library membership if you haven't already. Make sure you click your confirmation to subscribe to my newsletter when it sends you that. And you'll get instant access to the line art for this piece, so you can have a play, have a go, and have a good time with it yourself. And maybe you'll get up to a spot where you can be in a similar spot on Thursday, and then we could finish it out and have some fun. So with some pencils and everything. So I am really excited, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday. I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for the warm welcome. Thanks for all of my community that keeps coming week after week. It means a lot to me. And I will see you guys on Thursday. All right, take care. Bye, you guys. Bye, Ivy. Bye, Kez, Michelle, Luis, Temple. Oh, yeah, we got the pencil throwdown, Temple. Pencil throwdown. Loretta. Awesome. I'm glad you're signed up for the library. It's pinned there. Michelle, you have a great day. And Kez, you have a great day. I know you guys are just starting your day. So I will see you on Thursday, guys. Take care.